Hello and welcome to Tarot Arts Anjali. In today's tarot reading, we're focusing on the full moon in Leo, which is on 5th or 6th of February, based on wherever you're located. And this full moon in Leo, it's going to be a very, very powerful time of the year. Starting off with the very first card, which is the full moon in Leo, and it says, "Don't let pride get in your way." So, the very first thing that I want to talk about in this full moon of Leo is the sign of Leo, this imagery of the lion, which we also see in the strength card in tarot. So, with the full moon in Leo, it's a time where we're looking at the balance of our ego and our heart, where we're looking at a balance of our self esteem and worth, making sure that we're standing in our power, we are connecting with our inner strengths. But how are we able to balance that with our heart? How are we able to make sure that in whatever we do in all of our interactions with other people, we are making sure that we're not letting pride get in the way, we're not letting pride take away from any of our important relationships. And in this month, in this period of the full moon in Leo, one thing to pay special attention to is your relationships, is the people around you. How are you communicating with the people in your life? Because during the full moon period, there might be chances of our emotions reaching a new height or feeling a bit more emotionally sensitive. And during that time, it becomes very easy for us to step into a state where we lose a little bit control over our emotions, and we might not mean certain things, but we might say them to the people around us. So, with that overall guidance with the full moon in Leo, I also want to talk about this specific card, the Moonology card, the full moon in Leo. So, as I mentioned, one thing to keep in mind is this balance of our ego versus the heart, as well as the balance of your own needs. So, how are you able to preserve your own needs, whether that is in a romantic connection, whether that's with your family members and friends, or even in your work context? But at the same time, this preservation of your own needs has to be balanced in such a way that it's not affecting other people, and you're taking care of your own needs as well as the needs of other people around you. And with this full moon in Leo, it's also a very brilliant time to step into your own confidence, to step into your strength, and also any creative pursuits that you have, or even if you've been feeling maybe a bit creatively inhibited. So, this full moon in Leo is going to be a brilliant time for you to tap into your creative powers, to use your creative strengths in whatever way you want to, and to see how that creative expression that becomes an outlet for you. So, with the overall message, let's now step into the tarot cards that I've pulled out for you. And the very first card is about what is this greatest inner strength that you possess, this strength that you need to be aware of. And the card that we have for you is the King of Coins or the King of Pentacles. So, a general collective energy that I feel here is in this full moon period in Leo, we are all connecting with our ability to create abundance for ourselves, our ability to create safety for ourselves. So, even in your personal life, try to identify what are these ways in which you're creating this sustainability for yourself. It could be through a lot of different channels. For some of you, this might be related to your work, your career, your academic life, and all the slow and gradual moves that you're making, all the progress that you're making to reach a certain level of abundance, to reach a certain level of prosperity and security. For some of you, in the collective, there might be more of a focus on creating sustainable and meaningful relationships for yourself. So, you might be navigating what are the values that are important for me, what are the qualities or virtues that I would want in the people that I am surrounded with. This could be in the form of friendships, that what are the kind of people that you are connecting with in your environment, what are the kind of people who are who you're welcoming into your inner circle. And at the same time, this can also talk about your romantic connections, and especially this full moon in Leo, this period where you're reflecting a lot more on what are the qualities that I really want in my partner, or maybe if there has been a little bit of mismatch in the past, I feel there are going to be deep, intense conversations about what we value, about where we see this relationship growing, and ultimately how does it contribute to our own abundance, our own prosperity, and this feeling of safety and security. So I feel this need for safety and security, and at the same time, the ways in which you create this form of safety and security for yourself is one of your greatest inner strengths that you are connecting with in this full moon Leo period. Now, with the second tarot card, let's look at how can you step into your own power, having recognized your strength. How can you use that to um, strengthen your own power? And the card that we have for you is this King of Wands card. So first of all, two king cards coming immediately one after the other, there is a very strong sense of the divine masculine present here, and especially all of us have an element of the divine feminine and the divine masculine within us. With these specific cards being present here, I feel that as this specific year is progressing, as we are interacting more with the energies of this year, we are fully stepping into our powers, or we are starting to take a more active charge of our own lives. We are stepping into a period of being in control of all the decisions that we're taking, whether that's in terms of your career, deciding what kind of work you want to do, and at the same time, also understanding what your values are, what kind of a work can you not step into, or what are your boundaries in terms of how much responsibilities that you can take in. So there's a lot of reflection that is going on, there's a lot of re-evaluation that's taking place, and at the end of it, you are realizing that no one else, no one outside of you can force you into anything, no one else can box you into a certain role. Rather, you are taking that active charge. And especially with the King of Wands here, I feel one of the most crucial changes that are taking place in this full moon period is that you're realizing that you are in control of the actions that you take. You are in control of the things that you say yes to and the things that you say no to. So that's a very beautiful power that you're stepping into. You're really realizing that it's totally up to you what energies you welcome into your life, and it's no longer going to be about just trying to make it through how things are, rather taking everything in your power, trying to decide what are the moves that I'm making, where am I heading towards, what is this ultimate goal or this destination that I want to reach, that I want to journey towards. For some of you, in this full moon period, some of you might also be either actually moving somewhere else, maybe making big decisions when it comes to your career, or you might be contemplating those changes. You might be looking for a sign about whether I should make this change or not, whether I should make this move or not. And I feel that intuitively you already have a sense of knowing what kind of a move or what kind of a change is going to be good for you. And this message here is just coming as a confirmation for your own inner voice that yes, take that opportunity, take that risk, take that, follow that path that you have been questioning so much about, but you internally know that that path is going to be the best for you. It's going to really take you where you want to be. So take that message as it resonates. Ask yourself that what is this decision that I have been contemplating on, or maybe holding myself back from, and get in touch with your own intuition, get in touch with your higher self, and say yes to whatever this opportunity might be for you. So that's a very significant change coming during this full moon period. The next card that we have for you is what are the things that you need to celebrate more? It could be traits about yourself, it could be things happening in your life, or whatever this energy is that needs to be celebrated. And for that, we have the Ace of Cups that's coming up here. So I feel that maybe either recently or around the time that you're watching this reading, or maybe during the full moon period itself, there might be a new beginning that's happening when it comes to your emotional life. So maybe a new friendship, a new connection, a new relationship, or some of you, even, as I said, with the full moon and Leo period, this is also a time where we step into our creativity, where we start pouring bits of ourselves and we express that through any particular creative medium. It can be anything in your life: writing, painting, drawing, designing in whatever capacity, or any area of life that you are pouring your creative self into, where you're accessing your own inner powers, you're accessing your own intuitive gifts, you're accessing your spiritual gifts, your creative powers, and you're pouring that into something that you really value. So I feel, because this is the Ace of Cups card, it feels like a beginning. It could be something that you you're just starting off with, you're just pouring yourself into it. Or for some of you, this could be something that you're returning to. For example, a hobby or a practice that you had, which you had lost touch with for a while, and now you're getting in touch with that practice once again. And there is still a sense of, because as I said, with the full moon in Leo, there are two extremes of this Leo card. One end is where we are experiencing low self esteem, where we're not confident about our abilities. And the complete contrast to it is excessive pride, excessive ego. And I feel that some of you might be on this side of things, where you're feeling a bit underconfident, where you're looking for that one final push or that one final boost in confidence. So maybe you're looking for some praise about your abilities, or you're trying to seek for some validation, or you're just trying to hear from someone that what you are doing is of value, is something to be appreciated. And I feel that instead of that validation coming from somewhere external, you are realizing the value of what you are doing and how worthy it is, and how truly deserving of appreciation it is. So I feel that's one power that you are stepping into in this full moon period. And also, in terms of relationships, in terms of connections, we'll also look at a love and relationship affirmation card. But even with the Ace of Cups, I can definitely sense that there is an opening that's taking place, especially in the month of February. There's also the Valentine's Day, and I'll also be posting a separate tarot reading for that. But I feel for some of you in this collective, there is some form of an opening that's taking place when it comes to your love and relationship, something that is going to fulfill you a lot, something that will truly touch your heart. And that battle that's taking place in your between your ego versus your heart, your mind versus your heart, I feel that is going to get resolved for some of you. Some of you will be more open to entering your own heart space, where you can operate from a place of compassion and operate from a place of loving kindness, instead of a place which involves hurt, either towards yourself or towards other people in your life. You're truly tapping into that space of loving kindness in this full moon period. And the final tarot card that we have for you is about what are the risks that you can take? What are these unexplored territories that you can step into in this full moon period? And the card that we have for you is the Knight of Wands. So once again, this wands energy, this strong fire energy that we have present here. So definitely fire signs might be important, but in general, with the fire energy, there is this deep passion that I see, this deep inner drive that is taking us forward. As I mentioned, for some of you, there are significant changes that might be taking place here. So I feel that this could be a time period where the decisions that you take now are going to have deep consequences, are going to have, it's going to be of great significance even as the year progresses. So take your time with these decisions, even if there is a deadline to certain things, or there's this energy of being rushed. I feel that if you connecting with your own heart space, if you try to create intentional periods of silence, intentional periods of stillness in your routine, and in that space of calmness, in that space of peace, that's going to be the best time for you to make these significant decisions. And I feel right now there is this contrast that we see, that a part of you is really wanting to stay rooted and connected with the king of coins, the king of pentacles. There is this need to be within the comfort zone. This is a space that we're familiar with, it is something that we've gradually built over time, versus there's another part of you that wants to take risks, that wants to step into the unknown, step into this unknown unexplored territory. And you're navigating between both of these options. You're trying to balance out your own energies, that do I stay with the comfort, or do I step into this unexplored territory? And I feel the guidance that's coming for you in this dilemma is, first of all, find those moments of stillness, connect with your heart space, try to ground yourself, try to root yourself in such a manner that even when you make a decision. So I'll use an example here. For example, there is the specific career path that you have worked really hard towards. You've gradually built your wealth and income in that space, in that capacity. And now there is this big, new, wonderful opportunity that has come elsewhere, which will which is sort of more connected to your own creative abilities. And but that still requires a bit of risk to be taken. So it's up to you, that do you find comfort and that groundedness in what you are familiar with, or you're finding that groundedness within yourself, so that no matter what decision you ultimately take, you know that you have achieved that inner state of balance. And I feel that is a major blessing that's coming for you in this full moon period and in the month of February as a whole, that you're really connecting with that inner balance. So no matter what the external circumstances might be, that inner compass keeps pointing in the right direction. And that is a very, very it's almost like a flash of insight that's coming for you. And as soon as that realization happens, as soon as you tap into that experience, you're able to march forward in the direction that's going to take you to much, much greater heights. And with that, let's look at what is the angel answer message that we have for you with this card. And the card that we have for you says the situation will improve. So, with this card, I can definitely see that what I was saying earlier in terms of the pride and the two extremes that it can sometimes be at, this space of feeling underconfident versus excessive ego and pride. And if you have found yourself in that space of doubt, in that space of questioning your own abilities, I feel with the card, the situation will improve. Spirit and angels are really here to remind you that if you are not satisfied with the current energies around you, that is a temporary state of being. Things are not going to always remain so, they are going to change. There are going to be shifts that take place in your life. There are going to be better and bigger opportunities that enter your life. So, there is definitely a strong message of holding on, of not giving up at this moment. The universe is there in your favor, is there to support you. So, as long as you find your inner sense of groundedness, your inner sense of being rooted, and you also start, if there are any fears or worries that arise, so is there a way that you can channel them into a creative expression that will give you an outlet, it will give you a release, and at the same time it will remind you of your own confidence, of your own abilities. And that is something which is going to help you in the journey that you are on. And definitely with the situation will improve card, if there's any big source of conflict that is present for you, I feel that you are almost at the point, right before um a solution enters your energies, that right before that resolution takes place. So it's almost like that final stage before which you'll finally be on the other side of the things. You'll be able to look back and see why it was so important for you to stay rooted and grounded, and you'll look back and realize you'll appreciate your own strength for being able to make through this rough period. So with that, there's definitely a lot of strength that is coming forward for you. And finally, the love and relationships affirmation that we have for you is this card, which says tact. If you want, you could pause, you could read the card. But overall, I think this tact, it really connects with what we were talking about earlier in terms of that balance of the ego and the heart. And I'll just read out this card. It says, I speak and act with care, remembering that impulsive words or a harsh tone can sometimes hurt others. If it feels like I'm walking on eggshells, I'll remind myself that those eggshells might actually be a shop full of china and I might actually be a bull. Then I'll remind myself to stop mixing metaphors. So it's just a gentle, compassionate message that is coming forward here, that um, when we talk about the pride, when we talk about Leo and strength, sometimes even an act that's coming from a space to protect ourselves or to create the right boundaries around ourselves, they might, the way that those are expressed might end up, coming forth in a way that ends up hurting the people around us. And the full moon period, especially the full moon in Leo, as I mentioned, it can sometimes be very emotionally charged, and it might push us in a space where we let pride get in our way. So one gentle reminder that's coming from spirit for you for this full moon period is to make sure that before, um the biggest guidance that I see here is, do not react but respond. And that's a very fine skill, that how can you, even in a emotionally charged situation, how can you take a moment to pause before immediately reacting to it, before immediately or impulsively saying certain things or doing certain things which you also might later regret, or which you might um feel guilty about, because that caused hurt to the people that you love around you. And that's why we have this card of tact, that how can you skillfully navigate these difficult situations where you're preserving your own boundaries. Definitely, you're taking care of yourself, you're not letting anyone else affect your energies, misuse your energies, but at the same time, you're not reacting instantly. You're taking your own time to respond to the situation, and that involves a lot of tact, that involves a lot of skill. And since we also have the imagery of the bull here, so the Taurus sign might be significant. It might be either your sun, moon, or rising sign, or that of the important people involved in this situation. So we had the Leo card coming up here. We have the Taurus sign that's also coming up here. We also had the King of Coins, the Pentacle. So that is also this Earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and we have the fire energies here as well. So these signs could be significant, but overall, there is definitely a battle that might be happening between your head versus your heart, this battle between your needs versus the needs of people around you. And I feel the biggest lesson here, the message here is how to arrive at a state of balance and also an inner state of groundedness, that no matter what changes are happening externally, you can stay rooted. And also, finally, there might be bigger, better opportunities coming for you. So don't give up. The situation will improve. Keep going down the path that you are on, keep refining whatever is needed, whatever adjustments that are need to be made here. And once you step into your power, don't be afraid of taking risks, don't be afraid of saying yes to newer opportunities. Follow your intuition, follow your inner guidance that is coming forth for you. So these are all the messages that I have for you for the full moon in Leo. Wishing you all a lovely full moon experience. Hope you have all these blessings coming your way, sending you a lot of love, light, and power. And if you want to purchase any of these tarot or oracle decks, you can find the details in the description. If you want to book a personal reading with me, you can find all the details below. And I'll see you in my next reading. Bye bye.